Welcome to tutorial number 3 in this Linux tutorial series. Well, in our previous discussions, we talked about the copy command, we talked about the file, we talked about touch, remove, move, and we got to rename. So let's get into the tutorial. In the last session, we used the copy to copy files from one location to another, okay? And then I want to go back to the touch, the copy command, and just explain some few things. For the copy command, we also have the CP and then the -P option. So what the -P option means is to preserve timestamps. You see, when you copy a file from one source to another, the timestamp will change. The timestamp will change to the current date and time. But if you want to preserve that timestamp so that it is not changed, we will use the CP with the P option. So quickly, let me just create a file, TOUC. Let me create a touch file. And as you know, the touch and the T will create a file with a timestamp. So let us specify the date. So 2020. And then we specify the month as November. And we specify the day as 15th November. Then the time is 14:00 GMT. And then we specify that file 1.txt. File 1.txt. Okay, so we are still on the desktop. So as you can see, we have created file 1. Now let us do a long list. Now as a shortcut, we know of the ls, -L. Okay, and then we can specify all files. This means all files that ends with txt. So let us list all files that ends with txt. So as you can see, we have the two files. We have the file 1 that I just created, and it was created on November 15th, 2020. November 15th, 2020. Okay. November 15th, 2020. And the time is 14:00 GMT. Okay. So let me copy this file without using the P option. So I'm going to copy this file. So copy CP file 1 file 1.txt. I'm copying it to the tests. I'm copying it to I'm copying it onto the same desktop, but I'm going to rename it differently. I'll say new file 1 .txt. Okay, so let's make a list. Let's make a long list. Let us make a long list of all files that ends in txt. So as you can see, the new file, okay, the new file has been renamed. File 1 has been renamed to new file, but the timestamp has changed. The timestamp has changed to February 19. Okay, so if I want to preserve this timestamp so that it does not change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, CP file 1.txt. Then I will say another file 1.txt, but I'm going to bring the -P option so that we get the understanding of what it does. Now let me clear the screen and do a long list. Now we have been using ls dash L, okay, for long list dot txt. Okay, I can do this and it will list all the text. I can also use ll and then do the same thing and then do star.txt. Now this is a shortcut. The ll is a shortcut to ls-l. Okay, so take note, the ll will also do a long list. When I press enter, so you can see that the timestamp, even though I copied it now, this another file, the timestamp has been preserved. The timestamp has been preserved. Okay, the timestamp has been preserved just like the source file. So that is the function of the CP with the P option. Copy with the P option will preserve the timestamp of the source file. Okay, and then there's also this CP with the I command. All right, with the I command. So I'm going to copy file 1 again, file 1.txt. I'm going to copy it to new file 1 again. New file 1.txt. Let's see what the CP with the I option will tell us. Okay, so it is asking us whether we should overwrite. So you can see that the I is the interactive. We already have a new file 1 on the desktop already. So if I should press Y here, it is going to overwrite it. If I choose no, it is just going to maintain it. Okay, so if I press N, it will not overwrite. So the CP with the I will put the copy in an interactive mode. Okay, so that if there is a file with the same name, it will prompt you whether it should overwrite before it does so. Okay, so those are the things that I want to mention. And rename, we got to rename the last time, so I'm going to do the rename, but rename is a bit complicated. Rename is kind of complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename all these text files to doc, to like Word file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say rename. I'm going to use the rename command, and then I'm going to use '(s), okay, and then slash all text files. All text files. I want to rename all text files to DOC, to doc files. Okay, I want to rename all files to doc files, and then this is all the text files should be renamed. All the text files should be renamed to document files. That is what I want. So it means that once I use this, okay, once I use this syntax, it is going to rename all files that ends in .txt to the .doc extension. So let's press enter and let's see. Okay, so as you can see, it has just done that for me. So in one go, I have renamed all text files to document files. Okay, so that is the rename. Using the rename is a bit complicated, but that is what it does. We can also use the rename to rename all files in uppercase from lowercase letters to uppercase letters. Okay, so we can rename all of it to uppercase letters. So let's try. Let's rename all these files to uppercase letters. So we're going to say rename, and then we have our escape character S, and then slash. So we are going to do the A, B, C. Okay, that's the string ABC to capital A, B, C, and then the escape character. And then we are going to say, okay, every file that ends in what? .doc. Let's see if it will that way. Okay. So let's. Okay, so what I don't have the files that are ABC, but that is how it works. Using the rename is a bit complicated. Okay, so that's it. You can use it to rename files. You can use it to rename hundreds of files, at a go. Maybe they are extensions, or convert them from uppercase letters to lowercase letters, depending on your need. All right, good. So with that out of the way, today we are going to look at working with file contents. We are going to look at working with file contents, and we are going to look at the head, the tail, the cat. Okay, we are going to look at the head, the tail, and the cat. So cat is the same as concatenate. Okay, so cat is the same as concatenate. So we are going to look at this, and then we move on. So let's clear our screen. Let's clear the screen and let us start. So the first thing we have there is head. Okay, so head. What head does is, I'm going to generate something. Okay, so let me open file. Okay, so let me rename these files back to txt. Okay, so I'm going to use my app, and then so I'm going to rename all doc files to txt. I'm going to rename all doc files to txt. Okay, doc. So when I press enter, what rename? Okay, rename. Let me see. Okay, so we are going to rename all doc files. So we are going to rename all doc files to txt, and then these ones will be doc files. So let's continue. Let's see. Okay, that's good. So we have renamed them back to txt files. Let me clear my screen. So I'm going to enter some few stuff in this file. So I'll say that this is a test file for this Linux tutorial. This is another line. Yet another line. Okay, so let me save this one. So I've written some few things in file 1. Now if I just want to view the contents, of file 1, okay, if I want to view the contents of file 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the head. So I'll say head, and then file 1. Okay, file 1. So this is the head. Will let me see the content of file 1. But okay, let me add more file, because I want you to find the meaning to understand. So then I write a, then I write b. All right, so I have this content. Let me do the head again. So as you can see, the head, when I did the head on the file 1, it has given me the content, but it gave me the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it has given me the first 10 lines. The head has given me the first 10 lines. Let me add I. It has given me the first 10 lines. It has given me the first 10 lines. So what the head does is, the head helps you to view the content of a particular file. But the head will give you the first 10 lines. If there are hundreds of lines in that file, it will just give you 10 out of it. Okay, it will just give you 10. It will just give you 10 out of the over 100 of lines in that particular file. Okay, so head file1.txt will just give you the first 10 lines. Okay, now how about I want to use head, but I want to tell head how many lines it should give me. Then we have to use head with a number. So I'll say that head and specify the number, head -3. Okay, head -3. Now I'll do file 1. Then I'll do file 1. So what it's going to give me is just going to give me the first 3 lines. Okay, so if I do head -1 and I do file 1.txt, it's just going to give me the first line. So that is head, and what it does, it helps you to view the contents of a file, but without any number, it will give you the first 10 lines. But when you specify the number of lines to give for her to show, then it is going to show that number of lines. And you specify it with dash and then a number, the number of lines that you want. Just as we have here, this gave us the first 3 lines, and this gave us the first line. Okay, good. And then we also have what we call the tail.